So, at the beginning of the story, we see two people named Jem and Kat, who are in a live-in relationship. They were both sleeping when Kat's alarm suddenly goes off, waking them both up. Kat works at a company while Jem doesn't work. He's tried out for jobs several times but hasn't been accepted anywhere. Now he just stays at home. Today, Kat reminds Jem that they're supposed to go on vacation next week. Kat asks Jem, "Do you remember this?" But Jem doesn't want to go on vacation next week because he's interviewing for a new job. Therefore, Jem cancels his plans to go on vacation next week. Kat then quickly goes to get ready because she's getting late for work. Just then, when Jem opens his phone, he sees that a strange virus is spreading throughout the city. Scientists and doctors are warning people that this virus is extremely deadly. But we don't pay any attention to them, thinking that the government spreads such rumors during elections. Therefore, Jem doesn't pay much attention to it either. After this, when Jem comes to his balcony, he sees an old woman who looks very strange. Furthermore, there's blood on her clothes. Just then, Kat comes to Jem, distracting him from the old woman. But when Jem looks at her again, she's gone. Just then, Jem's neighbor comes to his balcony, with whom Jem starts talking about the virus. His neighbor tells him that people from big companies spread false news like this to drive down stock prices and then buy them back at a lower price after the price drops. And they're doing the same thing right now. Jem finds his neighbor's words incredibly valid. Just then, Kate is ready to go to work. So Jem leaves the house to drop her off at the metro station. On the way, they see the police arresting a man for murder. Jem then drops Kate off at the metro station. Jem apologizes to Kate for canceling her vacation plans. Kate says there's nothing to apologize for. They'll go on vacation another time. Then, as Jem returns, he sees the same police car. But this time, there were no police officers present, and the car doors were even opening. Jem doesn't take it too seriously and leaves. He then goes to a restaurant. One of the workers there was a friend of Jem's. So they start talking, and just then, the same old woman Jem saw that morning enters the restaurant. She spits in a man's face. Then she grabs Jem's friend and pours boiling oil on his face, burning his entire face. Then Jem sees everyone in the restaurant hitting each other in a very strange way. Seeing this, Jem becomes very frightened, so he quickly runs out. But the woman follows him out, but just then a car hits her. Jem sees that the driver has gone mad, just like the woman. He too begins laughing strangely. Just then a woman jumps from her building to her death. Jem was watching this when some people started moving towards him to kill him. Seeing them, Jem quickly started running away. But the people infected with the virus were right behind him, ready to kill him. Jem quickly ran inside his house. He quickly closed the door. As soon as he turned on the TV, he saw an emergency signal on every channel. Seeing this, Jem became worried about Kat. He started messaging Kat. But then his neighbor came into his house from the balcony. Seeing Jem, he started attacking him with a pair of scissors. Jem realized that his neighbor was also infected with the virus. Jem tried desperately to save himself, but his neighbor cut off 2 of his fingers. His neighbor laughed hysterically, as if he was having a great time. But then Jem attacked his neighbor's head, knocking him down. Just then, he saw his neighbor getting back up. To escape, Jem quickly ran out of his house. He saw everyone in the city infected with the virus. Then he spotted some infected people breaking a boy's arm, taking great joy in doing so. Jem then tried to start his scooter to escape, but then the sound of his scooter was heard. The infected people overhear this. They chase Jem to catch him. On the other side, we see Kat sitting on the subway, reading a book. A businessman sitting next to her tries to talk to her, but Kat wanted to read a book without talking to anyone. So Kat ignores him, but the businessman's intentions were not good. He touches her inappropriately. This angers Kat and she tells him, "If you try to touch me again, I'll file a sexual assault case against you." Hearing Kat's words, the businessman moves away from her for the time being. He starts ranting and raving because he's very angry with Kate. Just then, the subway stops at a station where a large number of people enter. At the same time, a man infected with the virus also boarded the metro. As soon as he entered, he took out his knife and began killing people one by one. The entire metro was covered in blood. Kate was terrified by this mayhem. Then, many more people in the metro became infected and began killing people as well. But the situation reached its peak when the infected people began to forcefully assault the girls. At that moment, we see the businessman, who was also infected. He stabs out the eye of the girl sitting next to Kate. But then a man knocks the businessman down. At that moment, the metro also stops at a station, and all the remaining passengers start running for their lives. Kate takes the girl named Molly with her. But even after getting off the subway, the businessman was still chasing Kat and Molly. Seeing the man following them, Kat and Molly became even more frightened. While running, Kat and Molly ran into a boy. The boy saw that Molly's eye was broken. He tried to help her. But then the businessman who had broken Molly's eye also arrived. Kat told the boy that this businessman was trying to kill them, so the boy started fighting with him to kill him. But the businessman cut off the girl's nose and then brutally killed the boy with an axe. Seeing this, Kat and Molly became even more frightened, so they quickly tried to get out of the subway station, but then they see a guard closing the metro station's exit door. Seeing this, Kat and Molly move even faster and exit the metro station before the door closes. Upon exiting, Kat becomes extremely angry at the guard who was about to leave them inside to die. In a fit of rage, Molly punches him in the nose. The guard tells them, "I thought you guys were infected too, so I was closing the door quickly." Just then, the businessman tries to break the door down. Seeing this, Kat and Molly quickly leave. On the other side, we see Jim calmly crossing the road. He sees several bodies on the way, all brutally mauled. Just then, Jim's eyes fell on an infected man who was getting intimate with another infected man. At that very moment, the infected man saw Jim. Seeing him, Jim quickly took his scooter and left the place. Jim drove away from there, heading out of the city. Then he stopped his scooter on the road. He started tapping his fingers because he was having a lot of trouble. Jim also found a weapon there. He kept it with him for safety. Just then, he saw some kids brutally torturing a man in a basketball court. Jim went to the boys to save the man. He beat them and drove them away. Then Jim went to the injured man. Jim saw that the man was infected. The man asked Jim, "Why did you let them go?" "I was just starting to have fun." Hearing her words, Jim became frightened. Just then, the boys Jim had chased away returned. This time, they brought a lot of stones with them. They began attacking Jim with them. Jim quickly took his scooter and fled. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see Kat and Molly. Kat had brought Molly to the hospital, where people hadn't yet been infected. Kat quickly puts Molly in a wheelchair. Molly became very emotional in front of Kat. Molly told her, "You saved me from there. I'll never forget this kindness of yours." Then the nurses took Molly away for treatment. At that moment, the hospital staff watched their president on TV. He appears live on TV and encourages the public, promising to bring the situation under control as soon as possible. While the president is speaking, the army chief, who has also been infected, takes out a grenade he was carrying and throws it into the president's mouth. As the grenade explodes, the president's head explodes. Seeing such an incident happen to the president, everyone in the hospital panics. Immediately, the guard points his gun and calms everyone down. But then the businessman arrives and attacks Bogut from behind with an axe, killing him. Along with the businessman, several other infected people enter the scene, killing people. Some of them even forcibly engage in sexual intercourse with the girls. Seeing so many infected people, Kat becomes extremely frightened. She quickly goes into a room and locks the door from inside. Just then, a guard comes outside and asks Kat to open the door, but Kat refuses. So the guard moves to another area and quickly hides somewhere. We then see the businessman. He's still searching for Kat. He doesn't find her, but he does find Molly. Molly, too, becomes even more frightened by the sight of this monster before her, and then the businessman starts misbehaving with her. Molly's screams can be heard by a guard hiding nearby, but then Beeb is unable to help Molly. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see Jim. When Jim sees Kat's messages on his phone, he quickly calls her. Kat also picks up Jim's call. She tells Jim, "I'm at City Hospital, so come quickly to save me." Kat panics as she tells Jim this. Jim then tells Kat to hide somewhere. "I'm coming quickly to save you. In the meantime, put your phone on silent. I'll call you back when I'm outside the hospital." After saying this, Jim hangs up. But Jim's condition is also worsening. He's slowly becoming infected, but he hasn't fully recovered yet. Meanwhile, at the hospital, a guard sees an opportunity and quickly escapes from under the stretcher. When he goes into Posse's room and sees him, he's shocked. He sees the infected people getting intimate with each other. To escape them, the guard goes into another room where he sees that Molly has also become infected. But just then, the guard's foot makes a noise, causing Molly to see him. But by then, many more infected people had arrived. They capture the guard, and Molly uses a machine to cut off his private parts. A brutal act. On the other side, we see Kate sitting on the stairs. Just then, she hears someone coming. So she quickly goes to another chamber. She places an iron rod in the middle of the door to prevent any infected from entering. Then Kate sees that the same businessman has also arrived. There, he tells Kat, "You're running away for no reason. If I catch you once, I'll be intimate with you until you die." Hearing this, Kat is terrified and runs into another chamber. But by then, the businessman had also entered through the door. He starts searching for Kat everywhere. But then Kat attacks the businessman with a fire extinguisher. She then hits him in the face with it so hard that his face is completely deformed. Just then, a doctor opens the door and brings Kat to his laboratory, where Kat was completely safe. But the doctor points a gun at Kat because he doesn't know whether she's still infected or not. So the doctor quickly ties Kat's hands to a pipe and then applies a very cold lubricant to her. The doctor applied the lubricant in a way that would prevent her from contracting the infected human blood. The doctor then gives Kat new clothes to change into. As soon as Kat changes her clothes and throws her blood-soaked clothes into the dustbin, she sees a child infected with the virus in the dustbin. She is shocked to see this and realizes that the doctor did all this. The doctor quickly gives Kat an injection and ties her back to the pipe. The doctor believed Kat was immune because she hadn't been infected in a while. Then the doctor tells Kat, "If you get infected by this injection, I'll kill you right here. But if you turn out to be immune, we'll both be on the terrace. We'll go. A helicopter will come to pick us up from there, and then I'll make an antidote from your blood to stop this virus." The doctor also tells Kat that he killed the little children to experiment on them. If they had stayed outside, they would have been infected and died anyway. That's why I injected them all to see which ones were immune. But none of them were immune. While the doctor was explaining all this to Kat, Kat texted Jim, informing him of her location. By then, Jim had also arrived at the hospital and started walking towards the lab. But when the doctor checked on Kat sometime later, she was still completely normal, which led him to believe she was immune. He quickly took Kat to the terrace. Then Kate noticed that the businessman's axe was missing from his body. At that moment, an infected person comes and cuts off the doctor's leg. But the doctor shoots the infected person to save his life. At that very moment, another infected person arrives and vomits on the doctor's severed leg to infect him. But then the doctor shoots the infected person as well. The doctor and Kate begin walking back to the terrace. Just then, Jim arrives. Kate sees that Jim is now completely infected. Seeing Jim, the doctor shoots him too. The bullet grazed Jim's neck. This enraged Jim, and he then slashed his axe at the doctor's neck. By this time, the doctor had also become infected. Kat, seizing the opportunity, takes the key to the terrace door from the doctor and quickly opens it and goes inside. Just then, Jim arrives at the door. He tells Kat, "Kat, thank you for taking such good care of me. But now, open this door. I'll cut off your private parts and eat them. After that, I'll kill you with immense pain. First, I'll crush your head. Then I'll peel off the skin from your entire body, piece by piece. This will cause you immense pain, and I'll enjoy it immensely." Even though Jim is infected, Kat is completely devastated by hearing such disgusting things about her from Jim's mouth. But then Kat starts laughing out loud, which clearly shows that Kat is also infected. After this, Kat quickly goes to the terrace. We then see Jim again. He died on the spot due to the gunshot, but a helicopter had also arrived above. They start shooting right there, and then we hear Kat screaming, which makes us believe that Kat has been killed by the army. And that's it, friends. The movie ends here. So friends, how did you like this movie? Let us know in the comments below. So friends, what would you do if such a virus spread in reality? Do let us know in the comments below. I'll see you in a new interesting video. Until then, stay happy and take care of yourselves.